Hey guys, Ben Paint here, back with another video at Teamsport Bristol. Here we're doing another Monday night social event, and the footage in the background is my final session of the evening. This was my third session, so it was recorded at around 10 o'clock at night. But onto the video anyway. As you can see, we're just coming around our first few laps as we're introducing the video, going past these two on the left that are holding back and trying to find a bit more space, I believe, on the track, as it was quite congested this week. A lot of people with very similar times, as you will see later into the video. And as we carry on, we're going round our first time lap, results in a 38.4, which is a lot different to the times that were being posted last week. As we saw, we're getting mid 37s pretty much every lap last week, but the track was a lot colder tonight on this particular time I went down, and this meant there was a little bit less grip, so it was more difficult to put the power down. The kart was sliding a bit more, and this meant that the power was required to be applied a little bit smoother, which was something that I wasn't able to get the hang of through this last corner at all in the whole session. I found that I was going wide, I was finding very little grip in that last corner. The first section, as you can see, we weren't as tidy as last week, but as you can see, this is our first few opening laps. The second lap we completed was a 38.4 again, but this was slower than the first lap, which is not really putting good stead for the rest of the session. But a bit tidier this time on our third lap. Once again, coming down to this last corner, I couldn't really find the correct line. I was a bit all over the place, gone a bit wide there, almost hitting the wall. However, this one was a 38.3, it was pretty much a 38.4. Much like last week, I was just trying to stay consistent, drive some nice smooth lines, and try not to slide the car too much. As you can see, just trying to get nice and close to the hairpin at the bottom of the ramp, going up, just having a nice smooth steering angle as I go in, just clipping the apex, and then trying to extend the track as wide as possible, as I was explaining before. And luckily this was helping me out to stay around the same sort of pace for the whole session. I was in between a 38.4 and around a 37.8 for the whole session. As I crossed the line there, I just get my own personal best of the session, getting a 38.363, which still isn't the best time, but we're just trying to stay consistent, keep the same sort of just smooth lines, coming at the top of the ramp, over the two white dots, just trying to keep it steady. But as you can see, just the lack of grip in the car, struggling to go flat out at the top on the turn after the ramp, which I usually do, but because the track was a bit colder, so I was having to let off a bit, and it was causing my hand to slip about. But as you can see there, once again, just slowly beating my own time again, 38.343. And as you can see here, coming up on some traffic, so something a little bit interesting for you guys. One thing that I love to do on video games, but not in real life, is overtake people, and it's a problem I've had since I've started karting down at Bristol, and I just like to sit behind people. I don't know if it's because I feel rude for being too aggressive, but sometimes I just sit behind people when there is a gap open, and as you can see here, behind the number 21 driver, just sort of getting cut off there, going down the straight. Not a typical place to overtake, but then he goes a bit wide, and we just nip up the inside there at the bottom section. And as you can see here as well, there is a gaggle of cars up ahead, and we are going to catch up to them eventually. But as I was going around, I was just trying to make sure I focus on the kart ahead, as I've said last week as well. Just learning from the faster drivers, learning from people that are consistent and seem to be keeping the same sort of lines. It's better to try and keep up with them, as when you focus on them rather than yourself, you find the lap times just do come quicker. So I find myself personally, when I'm behind a car that has someone in who is around the same sort of speed as me or a little bit faster, I find that I do better, because I'm able to just work off the toe off them, and they just help to pull you through the traffic. Here we are though, through the top section, and we are catching up to the driver in the purple suit, as he is a little bit slower than us, so we're trying to get a nice run out of the last corner, but I'm still not nailing it as well as I was before. However, that was a 37.9, which is my fastest lap of the session once again. And here, look, just dipping on the left, as I explained before, just helps you get a little bit more grip and a little bit better run out of the bottom section. And out of the bottom hairpin as well, we're just looking for the best place to overtake on the track, in my opinion. Just up the ramp. If you have the run-off speed, you can just nip up the inside and have a place. And now we're moving on to the next person as we come back down the ramp. I'm trying to lift off again, focus on this corner, as this really is a corner that can make or break your lap time. Unfortunately for me, unlike last week, I just could not seem to get it right. And on this lap, you will notice a little bit different. I do actually try to follow this number 13 car as closely as possible, but I do not have the speed up the ramp. And on the right hand side here, just letting a faster driver through past me, driver number 2, as this is one of the faster members for the evening. So as I've let them through, I just thought I'm going to try my luck here at the inside as well, and just follow the person through and attempt to just keep up with them if I can. So as I said earlier, just trying to keep up with a faster driver is something that I find beneficial to myself, as you will see in the next few laps my lap times do seem to come down a lot greater than they have been for the rest of the session. Unfortunately, on this evening, I don't believe I personally had the pace I'm capable of, as the driver ahead is already starting to pull away and create a little bit of a gap, which was a bit annoying, as I wanted to stay as close as possible. And that time there, just once again having a bad run out of the last corner. But as you'll notice here, just trying to get as close as possible without being held up, as I really do believe they can help pull me through the next few cars on track. And that person there gets pushed wide a little bit, so we just nip up the inside of them as well. Just trying to follow this car through, not let it out of our sight, because once we get it out of our sight, it's going to be back to just myself driving around, no reference points to sort of follow from. Whereas when someone is in front of me, I do tend to just watch their car, so sometimes if they go wide, I'll also happen to go wide, because I'm just watching what they're doing. And once again there, straight away, just from being behind this person, I'm up to a 37.874 already, which is still a pretty decent time around this track. And as you can see there, the person turns around, I just tell them to keep going. I don't really want to catch up, and that's probably one of the biggest mistakes of the session that I made, because as soon as I did that, the person ahead just seemed to get further and further away. But as I said before, this is a good thing. I don't want to be stuck behind slower people. I'd rather be on track with people that are faster than me, so that I can learn from their lines and just see what sort of references they use themselves. But here in this first corner, just flicking to the left and flicking to the right, so just trying to keep as straight a line as possible there to not clip the barrier on the left hand side. I'm still trying to decide each week whether flicking the car into that first hairpin is actually faster and smoothly going into it. I can't really decipher which is easier. And then on this top section here, just the throttle control is really required, just to make sure that you're not sliding at all, losing grip on the back end, because it really does make a big difference on the exit of that first little hairpin. As you can see there, using the person in front of me as a reference for myself, getting a 37.863, which is now my fastest lap of the session, because I have a guide to sort of follow from. And here they just nip up the inside of the person ahead, and this is what I mean from them just starting to disappear into the distance, as now we have caught up to the person he has overtaken, since they were held up a little bit during the overtake. Once again, my aim here was just to sort of try and catch up and do the exact same and just follow Mr. Blue, as I'm going to call him, through the rest of the track. But once again, that my line through the last corner really did throw me off, and I think my confidence was starting to go as I saw him disappearing off into the distance. I was really not getting a good run out of that bottom hairpin either, as you can see, just the kart chugging its way up the ramp, and the person in front of me just sort of bombing away. Same on the downhill part of the ramp as well. There you go, that was a sort of better run through the last corner, as that did result in the fastest lap for me once again, 37.857, which I do believe was my fastest lap of the entire session for this evening. Once again, just following the two drivers ahead of me up the ramp, over the two dots on the left hand side, and trying to keep a nice clean steering angle, sticking to the right, ducking into the left, and trying to stay as tight as possible on those curbs. It's really difficult to turn in, but once again, just the exit out of that last corner just isn't the best, and it's just causing me to lose quite a bit of time. Staying consistent though, with 37.9, as there is also a yellow flag that has appeared. I don't know what the cause of that was, but what I do know is there is now a group of about 75,000 cars ahead of us. Once again, this is where the fun and games is going to begin, trying to traverse through the group. Already after the two hairpins, we've already snuck right up to the back of the fellow with the luminous yellow helmet, number 17, right up the back, and that's probably the one time I've actually got a good clean run, and it's where I've been going slow through the yellow flags, almost literally shoving number 17 through the corner, and just trying to stick as close as possible. And here we've just been rammed a little bit as well, so checking back. And here's another mistake I made, letting that person through, because they're clearly a slower driver, as you go back to see, closing up around every corner. And here, over the next few laps, is really going to be evident about using throttle control and how important it is, as the person in front really doesn't use that much throttle control, and you can see from all the sliding going around, just stamping on the pedals, whereas I'm using more of a smooth application, and it really does help, especially in that top section, and just trying to force my way through here. But as you can see, he's clearly got some nitrous in his kart because he's just disappeared. But yeah, here's the evidence I was on about. So just coming through here, just so much time saved just from being smooth on the pedals rather than just stamping on them, as this driver clearly doesn't want it to be involved, moves out of the way. It was clear to see here as well, as you can tell we're getting late into the session now, that no more faster times are going to be had, because the people in front of us just driving very untidily once again, and it's just a matter of staying smooth, staying consistent, which sort of becoming a bit of my mantra now on my channel. But just sticking to the lines, just staying as smooth as possible. This guy dives to the inside, I just thought I'd try and follow him, a little bit of contact, but then we go for a switchback, and the person on the left hand side doesn't really want to try and force me into the barrier, so I managed to sneak through. But here we are again, just coming up to this driver that I mentioned before once again, like sliding through the first corner, sliding through the second corner, sliding all through the bottom section, and all the time we've just managed to save, as we're now up behind them. Doing a little dance for me now at this point, up the ramp. Don't know what that's about, but here we are then, sticking to the right, a little bit of throttle control, they go quite wide, and then once again just managed to get right up behind car number 19, and actually a decent exit on the way out of that lap. And there you can see we've ended our last time lap of the session with 37.881, as we really are getting stuck behind this person. They finally let me go past, but it is a little bit too little too late. As you can see when we come up the ramp, it is the checkered flag for the session. However, I hope that you enjoyed the video, as I really did enjoy making it. If you did enjoy the video, please could you leave a like, as I really do appreciate it, and subscribe if you're new to the channel. If you have any comments, then please leave them too, as I read and reply to everyone, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Take care.